All right. So today is day 3 of linear equations, and yesterday during IXL, some of you guys were talking about, you never taught this to us, but I did. I went over it on Friday, and y'all don't remember, and I was hoping that yesterday would be a good introduction to you guys, because it's computer-based, there's no stress. If you make a mistake, it explains to you. But today we're actually going to do some standard form equations. Okay, so again, the first thing you guys want to do when you get a piece of assignment or take a test is read the directions. So it says write the standard form of the equation. Who remembers what the standard form is? Tyler? That's slope-intercept form. What is standard form? I don't think so. Yes? Nope. Nope, that's slope-intercept form. That's exactly what Tyler just said. Angel? No. So let's write it down here so that you guys can have it. Okay, standard form is this. This is that little blurb. AX plus BY equals C. I know, that's not standard form. That's slope-intercept. It says it right there. Slope-intercept. This is standard form. This is the format that you will find most of your equations. AX plus BY equals C. Sometimes the C will be on the other side. That's just a variation of it. Okay, so everybody should have written down on the top of your paper, AX plus BY equals C. All right, so here's what I know. I know my slope and I know my y-intercept. All right? I need to write this equation in standard form. So if I'm looking at slope-intercept form, because that's what you guys, I've been hammering, right? Okay, so y is still y, right? X is still X, but A may be something that resembles M. And what about B? What do you think B would be in standard form? C. So let's take what we know here and put it into this format. So what would be in front of X based on this information? Right? So 5 over 4X. I'm going to start with my y-intercept format, okay? So we're going to say y is equal to mx. And what is my b going to be? 0. So I don't need to put a b. I want it in this format, however. I want it to equal 0. So because I want it to equal 0, I am going to add that O. So I have it in slope-intercept, but I don't want it in slope-intercept form. I want it in standard form. That means all of my coefficients need to be whole numbers. I don't want to have a fraction here. So how do I get rid of this bottom 4 here? What do I need to do? What is my inverse operation of division? Okay, I'm going to ask one more. What is my inverse operation, listen carefully, of division? Multiplication. So I'm going to multiply everything by 4 on both sides. I'm going to write my new equation over here. Okay, so what is 4 times y? Oh, see that? Went flying. So I'm going to write 4y equals, what happens to this 4 here when I multiply? I can say I'm multiplying it, right? This cross cancels, becomes a 1, correct? So what am I actually bringing over now? If this becomes a 1, what does this become? 5x, correct? And what is 4 times 0? I'm going to keep my plus 0. Okay. Am I closer to this format now? I got rid of my fraction, right? So first thing I did was multiply by that bottom number, or the denominator of that slope. And now I have something that's close. But I want AX plus BY equals C. My y is positive, so I'm going to move this 5x over. How do I do that? I want to move it over here. What do I need to do? Multiply? What is my I gave you guys this information here. What does your step say to do, Kevin? It says combine like terms, but do I have any like terms? No, I want to move this over. So what step am I using? Angel? Okay, so what is that step called? What am I doing? I'm adding the opposite. I'm using the inverse operation. So the inverse or opposite of 5x is negative 5x. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract that on both sides. Okay. But listen, 5x and 4y, they're not like terms, are they? What do I want to write first? If I want it in standard form, what am I going to bring down first as my equation? This is the format I want it. What do I bring down first? The what? The what kind of 5x? The negative 5x. Make sure you bring down the negative side. Plus 4y is equal to 0. Do I now have it in standard form? Yeah. Thank you. Two of you? Go see Miss Hotchick and give her your cards, your slips. Me too. Number 3. Okay, so for number 2, you're going to put it into slope-intercept form and then put it into standard form. So these guys are already in slope-intercept form, so I'm going to let you set this one up, but we're going to solve this one. Or this one. Which one do you want to solve, 3 or 4?
Let's solve 4.
Let's do 4 because it's got a negative side. Okay? All right, so let's look at number 4. Let's do some zooming. Zoom, 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 zoom. Okay, again, I'm going to write the standard form of the equation. So I have it in slope-intercept form, right? There's my y, there's my slope, there's my b. I want it in ax plus by equals c. I'll write that up here. Ax plus by is equal to c. That's the format that I wanted it, okay? I've got this fraction here I need to undo. What do I need to do? How do I undo that division again? I'm going to multiply, right? By what number? By 4. The bottom, the denominator of this fraction, because my goal is to eliminate those. These guys cancel out. How do they cancel out? If I've got a negative 9 over 4, and I'm multiplying it by 4, I turn my 4 into a fraction, right? 4 goes into 4 once. 4 goes into 4 once. Now I have 1s on the bottom, correct? What's negative 9 times 1? Negative 9. That's how they cancel, right? What is 4 times y then? So I'm going to bring down my 4y. This cancels, right? Bring down my negative 9x. And what is a negative 6 times 4? Negative 6 times 4? 6 times 4 is... Thank you. So, negative 6 times 4 is what? Negative 24. All right, I'm close. How do I move this negative 9x to the other side? I want to do the opposite, right? As Noah said, this is negative, so I'm going to be adding 9x to both sides. Do you notice how I just kind of put it on the other side? I don't put it right underneath the 4y. I am not adding or combining these two together. This has an x, this has a y. They're not like terms. I cannot combine them. What happens over here when 9x, negative 9x plus 9x? What does this become? 0. So I'm just going to cross that off. It drops off my equation because I moved it over to the other side. So my new equation now, what am I going to write first? 9x or 4y? 9x plus 4y. Remember, I want my y to be positive, so it's still positive. This is good. And what is it going to equal? Do I now have it in ax plus by equals c format? Right? So the only thing, I have two requirements. My first requirement is that they must all be integers or whole numbers. Okay, so A, B, and C need to be whole numbers, right? And then my second requirement, thank you, oh yeah. My second requirement is that my y, or the coefficient of y, must be positive. Now this right here is some good notes. You have a test on Thursday. Where do you think this should be? In your notebook or on a note card? Let's start writing up note cards. In fact, I'm going to hand some out. All right. So these two things must all be integers. A, B, and C have to be whole numbers, and y must be positive. And that's my standard form. Okay? C can be negative, A can be negative, but B has to be positive, and they must all be whole numbers. Sound pretty easy so far? I want you guys to work on number 3 on your own. And then I'll give you guys a few minutes, and when we're all done, we'll check it together and make sure you guys did the right thing. Ready? Go. All right, so let's see. If you guys are using this out here, these steps that I gave you before, that should help you, okay? So if we know that our first step is to move this, we got to get rid of this 4. So what did I just add to my equation? What did I add? I added what?
Eliminate parentheses.
I added parentheses, right? Because I need to get rid of that. So I added some parentheses. So that's the first thing that I need to do is get rid of these parentheses, right? So I got 4y, 4 times y. That eliminates my parentheses on that side. Over here, if you notice, I have a plus in here. So this is actually using distributive property. Okay? So I need to make sure that I am multiplying this times this, and then this times this. So there's 2 steps of multiplication that need to happen there. Some of you guys got all of this, but then forgot to multiply that. But remember, you also have to multiply that second term. Okay? These are 2 terms. They're separated by a plus or a minus. In this case, it's a plus. Okay? So when I multiply 1/4 times x, and what I'm actually doing here is multiplying by the reciprocal, right? This is 1/4, right? 1/4. The reciprocal is its flip, so I'm multiplying by 4/1. That's also one of my steps, right? Multiply by the reciprocal. That's how I get rid of those fractions, by multiplying by the reciprocal. 4 and 4 cancel, and now I have 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, which gives me 1x, right? So now I have 1x. And usually I wouldn't put Juan there because he's kind of shy, but I really want to know that Juan's there until I'm done with my equation, right? And now don't forget to multiply 5 times 4. What is a positive 5 times a positive 4? Positive 20. Now I'm super close, right? I've got my positive y. They're all integers, but I need to move this guy to the other side. How do I move a positive 1x over? By doing what? By subtracting it. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 1x from both sides. Right? So what am I going to write first? If I want it in standard form, which is my ax plus by, what am I going to write first? Negative 1x or 4y?
1x. Negative 1x.
Okay. Do I need to include that 1 now? Because this is my final answer. I can, but I don't have to. I'm not going to mark it wrong if you do. Then I'm going to include my 4y. And then my positive 20. How many of you guys got that right without me?
I did all that.
Okay. So easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? All right, so let's look at 5. Number 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14 are all, they just have a line. Okay? So let's see if I can zoom in. Zooming. The zoomies? All right. So I need 2 things, right? I need to know where this line crosses my y-intercept. Where does it cross? Crosses at what? 2. So B equals 2. Positive 2. It's up there, right? What else do I need to know in order to write an equation from this line? I need to know what? My m, right? My slope. Okay? So I need to see where else does it cross right in the crosshairs. It does there too, right? Does it? Up here? Right there? I'm going to call this one here because I like to read from left to right. That's how we read in the English language. So then my next point over would be this one. So what is my slope? I went down how many?
1.
So it's -1. And then to the right, how many?
1.
So my slope is going to be -1. -1 over 1, but that's just -1, right? How? Why? Okay, good question. Why did I choose this one? Okay, let's say which one? Where do you want to pick it? Right here? Okay. So let's look at this, okay? So if I'm completing this triangle, I went down how many? -2, right? And I went right how many? +2. What is -2 over 2? What is it? What is it, Clarissa? It's -1, right? What did I say my answer over here was? Doesn't matter. You can pick any point you want. When you reduce your slope, you're still going to end up with the same thing. Okay? Does that help? Okay. So I'm going to erase this because this is where I'm going to do my work. So I'm going to write this in slope-intercept form. That means y is equal to what? -1x. And what's my b? +2. Was that easy? Can you now turn this into standard form? Right? Now you can turn this into standard form. I'm going to let you guys do that work, but we're going to work on figuring out another one. Let's see. Pick one. What else? Which other one do you want to look at that might look a little tricky?
8.
Number 12? Yeah, number 12. Let's look at number 12. Number 12 is, it's hard to tell. Okay, so where does it cross my y? What number?
2.
My value is 2, so b equals 2. Let's find where else it crosses right at the intersect. I think here, right? Now if you're, let's see. Let's zoom in more. Zoom, 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 zoom. So definitely not there, right? It's not right at the crosshair. Definitely not this one. Not this one. Not this one either. But here, I say yes. So this is where I'm going to put my second point. And you have to be really careful. And like people like me with bad vision, and I have to wear granny glasses, this can be difficult. So make sure you take a really good look. Okay? So I'm going to complete my triangle, right? Here's my triangle. Did I go up or down on this triangle? So I went up how many? 1. And how many places to the right did I go?
5.
So my m is going to be 1 over 5. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So y is equal to, what is my slope? 1 over 5x, tags along, and what is my b? Okay, so here is one where I'm going to have to go ahead and take this and multiply by that bottom, or the reciprocal, 5 over 1. to finish it. Make sense? Can you guys do the rest? Absolutely you can. Yes, and you have plenty of time, at least half an hour.